Good morning. I'm Dilip Thakore, editor of Education World.
Good morning, I'm Summiya Yasmeen, managing editor.
Well, here it is, our bumper March issue, somewhat a few days late perhaps, but starts off with a very creative advertisement by the BML Munjal University.
Yes, and it has a very, quite a informative focus feature, Dilip. We're talking about the importance of liberal arts education and simultaneously announcing their School of Liberal Arts.
Yes, perhaps, but they've come in rather late. Perhaps they should learn a bit from Amity University, which is the most advertised brand, and I don't mean education brand, in India. And they really teach you something about how to build a brand through advertising.
Yes, so anyway.
To go to our creative cover.
Yes, we've got a creative inside cover, and this features a very exciting cover story on the National Curriculum Framework for School Education, which is imminent.
Due any day.
Yeah, due any day. A high-level national steering committee chaired by Dr. Kasturi Rangan is giving the final touches to NCFSE, but also a special report is also equally creative and exciting. It's on the Union Budget 2022-23-24 and how it's short-changed India's 260 million children once again. So we'll come back to our lead features. Should we?
No, and on the cover we have kind Mother Hubbard. What about that?
Yes, with a bear cupboard.
Yes, and why? And wonder, and our icon here, Bharati, asking, wonder where all the money is gone, which should have gone into education.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's proceed.
So in our editorial section, we've got an edit on Gautam Adani, Sachin Tendulkar of India Inc. We say why the Congress government should, stop badgering.
Congress party.
Yes, Congress party should stop badgering.
No. I think we need to explain that a bit better. This magazine is actually dominated by stories about Gautam Adani and this big scandal and a big which has disrupted Parliament. I don't say scandal, perhaps a big brouhaha, which has disrupted Parliament. So according to us, according to me, that is, I've written that edit, actually Gautam Adani is like the Sachin Tendulkar of India. He's done wonderful projects, and this is not appreciated sufficiently. And we've given our take on this whole issue of Gautam Adani and his alleged wrongdoings on the stock market, which is now being investigated by a committee appointed by the Supreme Court. And related to that also, our second edit also says, don't ignore talent and capital flight out of India.
Yes.
We have a tendency that anyone does well abroad, we celebrate them.
Yeah.
But anyone does well in India, we want to squash them.
Yeah, no, and the editorial also, raises some alarm bells about 225,000 HNIs and highly skilled individuals have, given up their Indian passports last year.
And emigrated abroad.
Yes.
So, and somehow the media seem to celebrate that. So anyway, let's proceed.
And in our education news section, again, some very interesting education news, interesting, insightful education news. We've done a story on the FLN, which is the Foundation Literacy and Numeracy Report 2022, which gives a ranking of states, how they've done in foundational literacy and numeracy.
Style from Delhi.
Yes.
Then we are on a system about education news from Karnataka. Then we have from West Bengal.
Also from Tamil Nadu, where there's a RT reimbursement, a big fight happening between private schools and the state government.
Yes. Then we have our expert comment page written by Rajiv Desai. Rajiv Desai was an advisor to Rajiv Gandhi in 1985, and one of the people who came back to India at that time, and there was great hope for the future, etc.
And institution profile is on the ITL Public School Dwarka. We've got another institution profile on Mainot University Island, and very two enterprising young achievers. One is a marathon runner, and the other one is a boy wonder who's developed several apps in our Young Achievers section.
And he's posing here with the Prime Minister.
Indeed.
Yes. So, and then we come to our great cover story written by Summiya. So tell us about it.
Yes, so like I said briefly in my introduction, the National Curriculum for School Education is due any day. Final touches are being given to it by the National Steering Committee chaired by Dr. Kasturi Rangan. And what we've done in our stories, we've said why it's important for the nation to have a national curriculum framework, because it will standardize the quality of education and the curriculum that's offered across the country to create a level playing field.
More accurately, it gives you the minimum standards that are expected across the country in school education.
Yes.
So that, and we've explained it, which I don't think anybody else has, that it enables the mobility of labor. See, if there is standardized education across the country, people in Odisha can come and work in Karnataka, because there isn't that much of a difference in their school education.
And what we've done in the stories, we've asked India's most eminent K-12 education leaders to give their expectations of NCFSE. And I must say it's very wide-ranging, Dilip, from people commenting on including social-emotional learning to entrepreneurship skills. Highly recommend that you read it and you join this debate on NCFSE. I think it's a matter of national importance.
Yes, because we must standardize K-12 education and have minimum standards. It shouldn't be that people in Tamil Nadu are teaching something entirely different from what they are teaching in Uttar Pradesh.
Yes.
That's bad for the mobility of labor, bad for mobility of managers, and sometimes when there's a demand for workers in Uttar Pradesh, they should be able to draw upon people from Odisha. So it's a very important subject, which hasn't in the past, unfortunately, received the kind of attention it should have.
And of course, our people section.
Very interesting people.
Yes.
Doing amazing things.
Yeah, we profiled Ratna Vishwanathan, who's the CEO of Reach to Teach, which is a social impact organization working with government schools. We've got an accounting certification leader. And then we also have a teacher educator from the UPenn School of Education, who was in India recently, and some of the innovative programs they're doing for educators and edupreneurs. She talks about that.
Yes.
Very, very interesting. And of course, our international news section, which gives you what's happening in education across the world.
Around the world, yeah. This is quite amazing, because you'll never find it in any other publication in India. We really don't know what's happening in education around the world, and a lot is happening.
Yeah.
So we have stories from the
China,
United States, Kingdom,
Afghanistan,
Afghanistan, Nigeria.
And we've got a special essay this time written by Sanjay Vishwanathan on how to bridge skills gap to boost job creation. It's very interesting. In fact, he gives a roadmap on how to do it, and there's some figures which are quite mind-boggling. According to him, that if you invest in skill development, India can almost triple its GDP.
Yes. And he's not a lightweight. He's the chairman of a London-based RD Group and Ed for All company. So he is very deeply involved in education. Very interesting essay.
Yeah. And Dilip, now to our second lead feature.
Yes, every year we've been writing, I think except the pandemic year, about the union budget, which receives a lot of coverage when it's come up. But ironically, hardly anybody talks about what the union budget does for children and for education. We are the only people who are very worried about what the union budget provides for education. And we find that, again, there's hardly been any increase in the outlay for...
And as usual, we've also given a roadmap on how additional resources can be raised for investment in education. We have
let me tell that, because this is a great innovation we've introduced. Because the standard argument is we don't have money to put forward for education. So for the last, I think, 8 to 9 years, we've been telling you how to find the money for education. By cutting somewhere, by cutting a lot of unmerited subsidies, by cutting establishment expenses, by cutting, and also by raising modest sums from taxpayers and others, how to find the money for human resource development, which according to us is the most important priority of education. So this year again we've given a tab table on over here, squeezing resources of post-pandemic education, where we tell you how, we tell the government how to find 7 lakh crores. And against this, the total allocation, which you say is the highest ever, is only 1 lakh crores.
112 lakh crore.
No, 1.112
Yes.
lakh crore. So 7 times that amount can be found if we apply our minds and if we grasp the nettle to cut some unwarranted expenditure,
Yes.
and to raise additional taxes, to invest in our children, in our future, which is what we should do. So
we invite comment, criticism on this,
yes, indeed.
Schema which we have printed in
Yes.
this issue.
Please don't ever think that we will feel bad about it if you write to us and rubbish it. We are not economists. We've given it. We invite criticism, we invite critiques, we invite debates on this. But let's at least look at it carefully. Now go to our book value section. Again, Adani springs up here.
There's a review of a book, of an unauthorized biography of Gautam Adani written by Arun Bhaskar.
According to Bhaskar, Adani has done wonderful things which has never happened before in the history of India, like building ports, building roads,
Which are,
building,
the Mundra port is among the top 5 ports worldwide.
Yes. In fact, it's the only all-weather port in India, and it has a perimeter of 35 kilometers. It's something built on a scale that's never been done before. Yet, nevertheless, you have people who are totally uninformed about infrastructure or nation building criticizing this. So, according to us, according to me, I've written the review, he's a national hero, but he's been devalued by the Congress Party, Rajiv Gandhi, and he's supposed to be very close to the Prime Minister, but the Prime Minister has not spoken a single word in his favor. So it's very ironic how everybody has abandoned him, but we have not abandoned him. We believe that people who create wealth, who create jobs, who pay
Are
high
valuable.
taxes,
Are
are national heroes, more than valuable. And we are against people who, uninformed people, trash such people.
Yes. And our second book review is on The Hind Swaraj, which is Mahatma Gandhi's book revisited, and it's also a very interesting book review.
Yes, indeed, yes.
On Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy and about
his nation building ideas.
His ideas about modernism and his ideas about how India can transform into a happy developing country.
And mind you, those ideas are not dead yet. A lot of people think that Gandhi is out of date. He's not out of date. In fact, he's very current, because he believed that your growth must begin in the agriculture sector.
Yes, and in your villages.
Yes. And even today, there's a big fight going on between urban India and rural India about prices.
Yes. And our last postscript page, where we talk about...
in fact, the first story is about rural India.
Yeah,
a man who grew 512 kilograms of onions,
and he got a check for 2 rupees
for it. And why? We have to look into that.
Yeah.
And then, I'm afraid I've had to describe Mr. Rahul Gandhi as a simpleton for criticizing Adani. Again, Adani is speaking up here also. And then there's a complaint by us multiplying Mir Jafar. Mir Jafar is the general who betrayed Siraj-ud-Dawla at the Battle of Plassey in 1757, and that betrayal cost the country heavily, because it enabled 200 years of British rule.
Yes, so you have to read this to find out who are the
modern
Mir Jafars we're talking about. We'll keep the suspense.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway,
that's
it.
So for Education World.
Yes, so very interesting summer issue. Highly recommend you read it, and not just read it, but get involved in debating these nationally important education issues with us.
Yes.
And of course, before we go, as always, very interesting story in Parents World. The summer holidays are around the corner, and we could give some very interesting ideas, creative ideas about enriching summer activities, how to keep your children engaged. And we've also got a exclusive scoop interview with Dr. Gowri Motha, who is the founder of the Gentle Birth Method based out of London. Yeah.
Well, that's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you.